We're talking cucumbers and melons today on Pots and Trowels, and that's brought to you with the support of Cobra Garden and Darlac. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Well, I thought we'd come into the greenhouse today because the last time we had a look in here was when we did our Pots and Trowels live, which was on the 1st of June. So, a good month and a half ago. And that's when we just planted the tomatoes, the cucumbers and the melons. And if you want to see what they look like just a matter of weeks ago, then you can find that video on YouTube. Go on there, there's all the other work that we've done over the last couple of years, and of course that's where you can subscribe, which we'd love you to do. So lots of growth. The tomatoes have done very well. They're almost at least 5 feet tall, some of them now, and we're getting lots of trusses with fruits developing on them. This particular variety here is one of our favourite. This is called Tigerella. Because of these stripy fruits, and these will ripen to a lovely reddish orange colour. I would think we're going to be another month before we're eating those, and we've got 4-5 trusses developing, and what I'll do with these is take them to the top of the cane and then pinch them out, but we'll look at those another time because the real reason for being in here is to look at the cucumbers and the melons. And it is a little bit tight, so I hope Jill can squeeze in. So what I did, if you remember, there were 4 plant pots here like this, and these are in a self-watering plant pot. So what we have in the base here is a trough that we fill with water. Okay, so it's about half full at the moment. That is full of water, and then there is a wick running up through the water, through a hole in the bottom of the pot, and then obviously the roots are in the compost, so the water is wicked up to them and they can just drink as they want. So these don't get any watering from above, only when I feed, and we'll do that in a few minutes time. So they're getting their water from below and the feed from the top. So it's an old system, but it works really, really well. And as you can see, they've made a lot of growth. So if we look at the melons first, these first 3 plants here are melons. And there are 2 ways that you can grow melons. One is to grow them in the ground, and you would let them grow to a foot high, pinch the tip out, and that would develop 3 or 4 side shoots that just grow out across the ground. So it's a bit like growing something like a butternut squash or a marrow. They cover quite a big area, and you need somewhere really warm and sunny to do that. And we can't always rely on that weather. Certainly here in England. So I'm growing mine inside, and I haven't got room to let them sprawl all over the place. So I'm doing them the other way, which is to grow them vertically. So I planted them, put some canes in, and then I've put a few canes going across and some string just to create a bit of a framework really. And I've tied them as they've gone up there, and they're getting to the top now. So what I would do with those now they are at the top is, as we can see, if Jill can follow them up, that one is this stem here. So they are quite fast growing. So what I'm going to do, no, that's next door. This is this one. So I'm just going to, you get little tendrils where they're hooking on. So that one actually belongs to there. And this one belongs to this cane here. So what I'm going to do is I've got them to the top of the cane, and a plant of this size will usually carry probably only 4 fruits. So, that's quite a lot of weight for a plant of this size. So I'm actually now going to take that top out. So it seems a bit of a shame, but if we just carry on letting that grow, that's using lots of energy, and I want the energy to actually go into making melons. So I'm just going to throw that out of the way. And likewise with this one, I'm going to take that one out and just snip that out there with these snips. And I'm going to put one more tie in there with a piece of string, but what I'll do for now is just loop that round there to hold it in. But I would give that one more tie just to hold that nice and firmly in place to that cane. So we've got this side shoot. If we go back down again, they often then produce these side shoots coming out like this. Now, we don't need all of these, so what I would do is shorten these back the way I'm growing them. So just snip those off, because again, these are just sapping lots and lots of energy, and we want the energy to go into the melons. Now we can see there's a melon here, a little melon just forming. That was the flower. If you are saving that melon, you would always go at least 1 leaf beyond the fruit and then cut it off, because then this leaf will be drawing moisture along the stem to help fatten that one out. Same here, there's a melon developing there. So we'd go, which I've already done, I've snipped it out there. And if it produces another side shoot, again, we will pinch it out. And they just want to keep producing fruit, but we can't let them produce lots and lots, because we'll finish up with melons the size of a gobstopper or hen's egg and not any bigger than that. And we want them obviously to get bigger. And this is probably the biggest one on there so far. Obviously that's going to double in size. These aren't the huge watermelons or the big yellow ones that you see in the supermarkets. This is called a mango melon. It's a fairly new variety. It's the first time I've grown it, with a lovely orange flesh, and they get to about, I think, that size, sort of an oval shape. So going to be really tasty. Now, one of the things with growing them this way is, as that gets heavier, as all the food feeds this plant, and I will limit this plant to probably 4 or 5 at the most. So I might let this one grow, this one grow. I might take some of these other lower ones off and allow these higher ones up to develop. But they get to be quite heavy, and if you're not careful, they can then break the little stem just here before they're ripe, and we don't want that. So what I've done is made a very small net. Now this is just a piece of netting, and I should really get Jill to knit something, because she's really good at knitting. But this is a bit of fruit netting that we've used to drape over the blueberries and other fruit in the garden, and these are just some offcuts. So all we've done is cut a square, we've threaded some just soft string through that to create this net, and what I'm going to do very carefully is just pop the fruit in there like that, and then I can just draw that together a little bit. And the idea is I'm going to tie it to this cane higher up, and I need to tie it so that I'm just taking some of the weight. I'm not going to pull it right up, but it wants to be so that a little bit of the strain is taken with this here, so that as it gets bigger, and we can adjust this if we need to. I'm just going to pull the weight, tie that round, and then just put a knot in there. So I can feel that yes, it's not putting all the weight now on the stem. So we can just tie that off like that. Okay, we can readjust that. We can keep an eye on it as it grows, but essentially we're just taking a little bit of the weight off it. So really easy to look after in that respect. So when it comes to the cucumbers, we grow them in pretty much the same way. And I've been leaving these stems on just so I can show you how they grow. So let me just take a couple more out of the way, and then we can see. You see they get all the way around the back. So they all need thinning out just to allow more light through to these developing melons. And I'll take the tops out of these as well up there. Cucumber, one plant in the pot there. We've had about 4 cucumbers off that already. Secret with cucumbers, if you're growing them for the first time, is let them get to, about 18 inch, 2 feet tall before they start to crop. Otherwise it weakens them. But we can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ready. And then there are lots more cucumbers developing. I'm actually taking this one on some string that I'm twisting it round, and I'm going to take it all the way along there, and it will eventually go across the top of the door. So I expect that we'll probably get, 15, 20 cucumbers off this plant by the end of the summer. And then I've got a younger plant which Jill didn't know about, but she will have now spotted it. There's just a younger plant here just growing in a plant pot, and it's already started to produce some small fruit. So this one will carry on a bit longer, and again I'll probably put a wire up there so we can get them hanging down. So I'm hoping we'll get cucumbers off these till probably well into September on a regular basis. The secret is to pick them little and often. So this one here, always pick the one at the base. It's these are mini cucumbers, but for mini cucumbers they're still quite big cucumbers. You can pick them when they're a bit smaller than this if you want to. So just pick that off like that. So that is now ready to take into the kitchen. And what will also happen with these cucumbers, we very often then get little side shoots develop, and they will grow out. And when we do get the side shoots, I'll count a couple of leaves, snip them off, and then hopefully we'll get more cucumbers developing all the way along there. So really quite easy to grow in a greenhouse. Feeding is really, really important. As I said, these self-watering pots get the moisture they need. And I find that if I fill the reservoir up, that will last just about a week before it runs dry. So it means you can leave them for several days if you want to. But the feed is important. If I can just lean in there, this is a watering can full of liquid feed. This is a high potash tomato fertilizer, which is good for any fruiting or flowering plants. So what I would do at least once a week, and I will probably up this to twice a week, is just give them a drink from the top like that and just let it soak down, and that just keeps them healthy, lots of green foliage. But the most important thing is it keeps them flowering, and then when the fruits develop, it helps them to swell and to ripen so that we can enjoy them. So there is time still if you can get hold of a cucumber plant. Bit late for melons, but cucumbers grow really, really quickly. And I know some people actually sow cucumbers in early July from seed, and they will produce smaller plants, but you'll get cucumbers then late August into September. So if you have got a few seeds kicking about and you want some more cucumbers, there's still time to have a go. So we'll come back and look at these probably in another month, 6 weeks time, hopefully when that melon is ready to pick, and then I'll do a taste test. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and guess what we're having for tea? Next time we're going to check up on the fig tree that we pruned back in the spring. So we'll see you then. Bye.